Hi guys, what's going on? Fabio Palvelli here with the D2 Conferences. We are back in Total Chaos 2019, and this time Donna have a treat for you guys. Andrew Maximov of Promethean AI.
Yes, sir.
Andrew, thanks a lot for taking the time.
Oh, my pleasure.
You are the most wanted man in the field of 3D. People wanna come back from the future to kill you before you release this monster into the market.
I've heard about that, yes.
Are you thinking to switch it off?
No, actually. I'm actually much more concerned about what happens if it doesn't get released.
Yeah.
Because the crazy part is, it's not like the production processes are not going to get augmented somehow technically, but everything I'm seeing on the market terrifies me because it's all about removing the artist from the equation. It's like, let's make it procedural. Let's have some tech artists whip up some sliders, and that's literally all you're going to get to do.
This is a fantastic point that you just
and that terrifies me, because I was looking at it and I was like, okay, we can wait for some stuffy scientist in a university to come up with this thing, or we can just make it so that it focuses on the creative process and the artist and actually is all about empowering them rather than replacing them.
Let's give a little bit of context of why we're having this conversation. So you basically have created some sort of AI, but you rather call it assistive intelligence. Assistive intelligence.
Which is AI, so you're exactly correct.
And like this tool, we've seen it in action. It's basically like working with an assistant that helps you with your boring tasks, if you like, right?
Exactly.
I have to say, like, I really like the presentation. I think that you made your point really clear. Let me ask you a question, just, to get it started and to make sure that people understand why we're talking about this. Will AI take away the artist figure, the artist job? Will artists disappear because of AI?
Not at all. In fact, I think the opposite. More people are going to be artists because of that. Right now, the barrier to entry to making art, especially 3D art, is ridiculous. The time that it takes to learn all of the software that has nothing to do with the creative process. You're just learning the right sliders to move around so that you can wait for an hour and hopefully get the result that you want. All of this is not conducive to building worlds and telling stories and immersing people in your imagination. And so once that gets shrunken down and at some point removed, that means that many more people can actually have something to say. They can have a beautiful idea, something they want to visualize and share with other people. And so, if anything, this technology is about empowering people to do more of that.
I totally get it. So, let me just ask you something that, people might think. Okay, we're empowering artists, but what if a client says, I'm going to do it myself because now I can simply talk to a machine and the machine will do everything for me? What do we tell to these unbelievers, non-believers?
No, that's a very fair point. Actually, something that's very crucial for us with Promethean is the way it works is it learns from the individual artist or team that trains it, and it actually biases future generations towards that, meaning it actually tries to be like you as a person. It tries to figure out what is your individual style and what is it that makes your art special and unique. And at that point, all of your clients, they don't have access to that. They have access to sort of the generic representation of the world that we've taught Promethean, but what you bring to the table as an artist, what makes you special, is why your clients come to you. And so when working with Promethean, you'll actually train it on what's special about you, and then you can let your clients work with Promethean, but it has to be your version of Promethean. So that's where you're valuable. So you're kind of just letting the Promethean take care of the boring iteration, but it's about training it on top of what we provide to make it, your own.
Do you feel like we need to kind of educate artists to understand what it is, the real value that they bring to the equation, workflow, artist, client? Because I very often feel like artists still struggle to understand when is that they convert an idea into value.
I think that's very reasonable. I don't know if educate is honestly the right word. I don't know what the right word is, but something that terrifies me a lot is that we tend to substitute, especially in computer graphics, the concept of art with the concept of software, which is very scary to me because the ideas and the creative values and the lighting and color and the composition, all of this comes from a lot of, years of hard work on studying art fundamentals and going out there and getting inspired and watching, movies and reading comic books and going out in nature and getting all of these fantastic ideas. And instead we're stuck doing things that have nothing to do with that. And I think that it might take a while to get that idea across because it's very easy to associate yourself with what you do every day. But I think what's inevitably going to happen, whether we, like it or not, is that the technological gap is going to shrink.
Yes.
And then at some point, just through the sheer process of how art is going to transpire, everyone's going to be forced to ask themselves, what is the value that I provide? Why do people like my artwork over somebody else's artwork? And then they'll be forced to focus on that, because that's going to be their differentiating proposition. Because right now, your entire skill set as an artist could be that you just know the software better than someone else, which is kind of terrifying, because that does not make you a better artist. It makes you a better craftsman. You know how to press the right thing. But just like with every complicated job that exists, and it's not just computer graphics, every single profession in the world is reaching a point where it's becoming significantly easier. Like every single thing that you've ever done is becoming easier. Driving cars is borderline automated. And it's not just about AI in general, it's just human nature to try to optimize things, to try to simplify, to make them better. So AI or not, this was inevitable from the beginning. Everybody knew that at some point, all of the boring technical stuff is going to go away, and now we're just starting to see that.
Totally, I see your point, and it really resonates with me. I'm very interested in the idea of innovation. So, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about this product is, how are you guys thinking to bring it to the market? Will it be an integration to other things? Are you planning the utilization for multiple platforms? What is your vision?
Sure. Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Promethean is a standalone application, but we provide integration into any DCC, any content creation tool. So you can use it with Unreal, you can use it with Maya, you can use it with Max, you can use it with whatever you like. And so it's a subscription. It gets smarter all the time through us training it, through other people training it. And so you just have access to this virtual assistant that can help you, build virtual worlds. The same way you might want to hire someone, to just do all the boring work for you at your company. Now you just have AI literally power amplifying every single artist that you're working with. And so, that is the idea. And so we want to be, something that hopefully you got from the presentation is, we never want to tell you how to work. Unlike a lot of other software that restricts you into a certain way, we want to meet you where you are. We want to say, how do you want to work? And then we'll meet you there. And so that's kind of where it comes to as being a subscription and being any software that you are. So we have some of the integration that we have to do, but we're built very much with the idea that wherever the artist might go, we can integrate with any 3D software, because all we need is, we have to have a concept of an object that can be placed into a virtual world and an ability for us to build in a tiny interface to talk to it. That's it. And so, the idea is we meet you where you are.
I like this concept. Let's take a couple of steps back. I want to ask you about yourself, because you're very young and you have created this thing. Can you give me a little bit of your background? What did you do? How did you get to this point? And where did you get the skills to make such a tool?
The internet. No, I've been making art for the last 15 years, last 10 of them, like a decade professionally making video games. The last gig I was with Sony Interactive. I was a technical art director at Naughty Dog, working on the Uncharted franchise and The Last of Us. So it's very cutting edge AAA video game production. And and being an artist first, my main concern was always, how do we build technology that supports artists and empowers artistry and puts creativity first? Because a lot of technology operates around the idea of, how does data travel through systems, and and it's interesting because we expect people to interact with it the way that is more convenient for the data, rather than what is more convenient for the person. And so
that's a very good point to put
and it always baffled me. And so it was like, no, we can do better. And economically, both games and movies are very low profit margin businesses, unless you're making it really, really well. And so that's the scary part, because just economically, when a Ridley Hughes can get an Oscar and shut down next month, that something's conceptually broken. And people's solution to that are either business, of like, make something that is going to sell twice as more, which is great, but how do we take creative risks? How do we experiment? Okay, then otherwise just outsource it somewhere else. Well, that's great. Are we going to make all of the movies in whatever cheap place until it becomes expensive? Like, all of it doesn't make sense. The only thing that can help all of this, all of the crunching and overtime and lack of creativity, is if all of our tools become 10 times more effective than they are today. If every single person is 10 times more powerful than they were yesterday, then the price goes down substantially. Then we can take more risk. Then we can experiment. Then we can make all of these awesome things. And so that was the idea. I literally just wanted to help my team at Naughty Dog. I was like, I feel like I'm failing my team at serving them as the person that's supposed to build technology that's actually deserving of them. And so we had to set out to build it.
And how did you gain the knowledge to actually start scripting this thing?
Well, I was involved with technology for a while, obviously, building pipelines for game development and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's interesting because there are two things. There's the core competence, which is the problem space, and that for me has always been world building. was an environment artist, I was building worlds, and that has always been the part that I feel like a lot of technology lacks, is that understanding of the problem space more than the solution space. And then over time, I started with pencils and watercolors, and then I moved to 3D, and then I moved from just pre-rendered stuff to real time. And so it's all of these tools. It's like pencils. You go, I'm going to change my pencils for my charcoal, for my whatever gouache, but that's the same idea. And so AI is kind of the same. I changed one set of tools for another set of tools, and then it was just literally my recreational viewing was I watched literally all of the MIT lectures on their AI courses everywhere, and pretty much anything anywhere that you can find about AI. I probably read it, and I don't know, like recreational reading of white papers is something that I do a lot, latest research and stuff like that, which is it's interesting. I get to geek out on that, but it's also very important to me to make sure that us geeking out on technology in no way has to transfer to the audience. The audience has to enjoy the product, and we don't build technology so that they think that we're really cool and smart. We're building it so it seems really simple and dumb, so that it just does exactly what they like.
Are you already working on like building a company? Like you're thinking about how this is going to grow?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's 3 of us. We're working on it, every day. So it's really exciting, and so it's very much a company. We've raised some funds for that. We have our early adopters that we work with, so it's all in motion. It's all very exciting. We're actively hiring. We need more people. So it's.
Did you have to quit your daily job?
Oh, a long time ago. Immediately, the moment I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. In my 4 years at Sony, I kind of didn't take much vacation. So they were like, you have to go on vacation. I was like, great. And then instead of taking a vacation, I was like, we need to fix game development, God damn it. And so I started writing this, and then I came back from vacation. I was like, I'm sorry, you guys, I gotta go help. And so it's been like a year and a half at this point of just, that's all I do. And that's all I'm gonna do for a very long time. Because conceptually, we're trying to teach a computer about how everything in the universe relates to everything else. And not just our universe, but every imaginary universe possible that anyone has ever come up with. So it's kind of a big problem to solve. It's gonna take some time, but we're making decent progress. So I'm excited. I wouldn't be working on anything else right now for no amount of money. This is just too exciting, and we get to help the people that I respect and appreciate, and can't wait to experience the things that they make with this.
Let me ask you one more thing, and then I'll let you go so that you can enjoy your lunch.
No worries. Take your time. And I don't like food, so it's okay.
No, okay. I wish I had that quality. What can we expect next from you, your company, and the product itself?
Sure. Well, we are working with our early adopters and polishing out all of the kinks, making sure it's all very production tested and ready. We're working on something we're calling our semantic verticals. And a semantic vertical is basically a saturated amount of knowledge that our AI will have about a particular subset of virtual spaces. And that's what we're going to start deploying to people. And we'll see how it works out. We're looking at deploying it with assets as well, so that anybody can just pick it up and go, I'm going to build this type of space, and then you have everything you need exactly in one place. And we're going to be doing more demos. We're moving into VR, so it's going to be very interesting building virtual spaces in virtual reality using just voice and your gestures. Is going to be very interesting, very empowering. And so probably going to see plenty more demos of different types of spaces and stuff like that until eventually we just release it as the first semantic vertical. And then we're just going to keep adding these verticals. Like, okay, we've learned everything about building this type of space. Now let's build a space station. Now let's build a fantasy castle. Now let's build a Venetian apartment building. I don't know, just whatever you can think of.
So I guess that you're going to be looking also for content creators, right?
Oh, very much so. Actually, our 2 open positions are artists and technical artists. That's who we need.
Let's conclude with what is the future of art?
The future of art, and actually anything philosophical these days, is very interesting, because technology is the thing that actually forcing us to answer these age-old questions that remain unanswered. And it's fascinating to me that right now, through technology, we're going to be able to figure it out. So I'll tell you this, it's going to be pretty vague, but I think it's interesting. Art is going to be whatever we refuse to let go of when we're optimizing things. So we're going to, a little by little, things are going to be taken away, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't miss that. That's fine. I don't miss that either. But then at some point you're going to, oh, I really miss that. I need that. Nobody's fucking taking that away from me. That's mine. And just through that process of optimization of the creative process, we're gonna learn. It's not that we're gonna teach AI, it's AI gonna teach us about what is actually important to us, which is fascinating to me. And such a nice sort of introspective relationship that we're gonna have with our technology.
Andrew, that was mind-blowing, I have to say. The presentation, the conversation that we just had, I'm so happy that you took the time to do this for us.
Very sweet. Thank you so much for having me, and sorry to be keeping you away from your burger.
No, absolutely. I'm gonna go for it. Don't worry. I always find a way to food.
Oh, sure you will.
Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and share this video. Get the conversation going. Subscribe if you haven't done it already. For now, from Sophie, it's everything. See you guys next time.
Yeah.